Hello, everybody. I'm Tyler Henry of the Trojan Media Network, and I'm joined here by head coach Mitch Gebhardt of the Southeast of Saline Trojan football team. Very successful season. Southeast of Saline finished that out 7-3, and just a great year looking back on it. Everything. Just wanted to ask you, so how big was it to get that first win against Sacred Heart? I know we had lost to them the last two seasons, obviously a big rival and never wanting to lose that game, but coming out and just tearing them up 54-13 to start the season, just go over that a little bit.
Yeah, I think it was a good confidence builder for us. We struggled the first half. It was a one touchdown game in the first half, and after we put some things together there in the second half, we got things going, especially offensively. I think our defense played well in that first half of that game, but our offense was kind of struggling a little bit, and we scored a touchdown right before the half to go up, and I really feel like that was a big key for us, and and I think that game was a big confidence builder for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember playing freshman year, you said after the Sacred Heart loss, you had a sticky note with the score on it up there, and did you finally get to take that down?
Yeah, we did. We took that down and moved on, I guess, and that was a good win for us to get after Sacred Heart.
Now, everybody obviously remembers, I believe it was week 3 or week 4, lacrosse, and really just a big unknown. They were a 2A school. Everybody knew that they had been undefeated. They were on a 42 regular season game win streak. They had not lost a regular season game in 4 years, and came out and beat them 40-6.
That was a good game. I really felt like before that game, our kids were very focused. Some of our leaders were even more focused than they normally were. Probably in the first 3 games, they were more focused for that game to start out with. We knew we were playing a very good opponent, and we came out and we got after them. Honestly, looking back at the season, that was probably one of our best games that we put together as a full team. I feel like offense, defense, and special teams played well in that game, and it was a fun game to be a part of.
Absolutely. And as a head coach, just what's going through your head preparing for a team that hasn't lost in that long?
We preach go 1-0 every week, and we don't prepare for anybody any different. Obviously, every team does something different, so we have to make adjustments throughout the week when we're preparing for those teams. But we talk to the kids that we feel like every game that we play, those first 9 are important to lead us to where we want to be, and we always want to be in contention for a league championship. We want to be in contention for a district championship, and we want to do well in the playoffs. And if you prepare every week like you want to go 1-0. I feel like that gives us the best opportunity to do well at the end of the season.
Absolutely. Playoff run that was ended possibly a little bit too short. I know you hate to speculate, but man, you go 7-2. I remember the play I was actually there covering the game against Hillsborough. Caden Bescher goes down with the ankle injury, and obviously Cody Schlesner tears his MCL in that playoff game against Halstead. Now, like I said, I know you don't like looking back and playing different scenarios, but if you have Cody and Caden, honestly, do you think you have a shot in that game?
And even without them, we had some tough situations there at the beginning of the game that kind of put us behind the 8 ball, I guess. But obviously, those are 2 of our leaders, very good football players, and you want to have everybody healthy at that time of the year, and we weren't. But we did have some kids step up in those games and do some things also that were very good. You never know. I mean, if Caden's playing and Cody doesn't tear his MCL in that game, things may have been different, but that is what happened, and I felt like we had a very good football season, even though we didn't win a game in the playoffs, which was one of our goals. We'd have liked to win a game in the playoffs, but I feel like we had a very good football season.
Absolutely, 7-3 is amazing. And talking about some of those kids stepping up, that's going to be very instrumental. You're losing 12 seniors next year, 9 varsity starters, and 3 of those being Cody Schlesner, Caden Bescher, Kyler Sager, and then your whole line essentially. Aiden Murray, the 3A state sack leader, a member of that. So just looking forward to next year, I know obviously you lose seniors every year, but this is a lot of your offense and your defense. Do you think that everything's going to look similar on an O next year, or are you just going to have to play the offensive sets around who you have?
Well, I think we'll be similar. We like you said, we graduate seniors every year. This has been a very good class for us. A lot of these kids have played for 2 years. Some of them have played for 3. And, when you lose a class like that, you have some areas that you're going to have to replace kids that have done an outstanding job for you. But again, being a high school football coach, you're going to lose kids, and you got to prepare for that. I think a lot of our offensive stuff will be the same. Obviously, we are going to make some adjustments. I think a real key for us next year, as I watch the kids in the weight room and do those things, is I can't believe how much speed we have. I really think we're going to be a fast football team next year.
Absolutely, and look for Southeast maybe making a little bit of a Kansas City Royals run. You get the speed, you never know what you can do. Obviously a different sport, but
that'd be
just
great.
Play around with that. As far as just Cody, Caden, Kyler, and Aiden, 4 your team captains, just a little bit on each of their seasons, if you don't mind. Just some of the plays you remember or something out of those 4 guys.
I look at Cody Slazner, and I think of a kid that worked his tail off to get to where he was. He was a quarterback for us for all 4 years and played a lot of JV downs and things like that. But the thing that impressed me about Cody was it was finding a hole and running through. He had some outstanding long runs in the football game. I know he had one that was 82 yards. He had some in the 70s, and it was amazing that once he burst through the hole, the breakaway speed that he had to sustain that and get those long runs for touchdowns. And a quiet leader, he worked his butt off and made himself a good football player. Caden Besher, I always think beast mode with that, right? Because the kid's built like a tank, and when we needed tough yards and to get a first down and things like that, we made sure Caden had the ball in his hands some way. And I look at Caden too on defensive side of the ball. He started either 27 or 28 games in a row before he rolled that ankle. So he started every game as sophomore, junior, and then senior year until he rolled that ankle. So
it's funny to me because, man, I think almost every broadcast I was comparing him to Marshawn Lynch and mentioning the beast mode. And like, man, he's just trucking guys, 4 or 5 guys trying to tackle him.
He's a strong kid with a good balance, which is great. Kyler Sager, another kid that worked his tail off, kicked for us as a sophomore, played a little bit as a sophomore, and then started on offense as a junior, and then started all over the place as a senior. 135, 40 pounds of toughness. Had a lot of great catches for us this year. I think of the Russell game, I guess, when I think of him. He scored on a special team. He kicked all of our extra points there, like he did all season long, and then he scored a couple touchdowns. He scored on a special team on a punt return. He picked a ball off, and I believe he ran that back for a touchdown. He also caught one on offense. So that was an outstanding game for a senior to have, and did a great job. The other person you mentioned was Aiden Murray. Wow. He led 3A in sacks 2 years in a row. There are many teams in 3A that didn't have as many sacks as he did over the last 2 years. Outstanding force. People had to change their game plans because of Aiden Murray. He started as a sophomore at center for us and then played some on defense as a sophomore, and then obviously his junior and senior year he started on both sides of the ball as a dominant force on both sides of the ball. One of the most proud things I am between Cody and Aiden, I cannot remember in 2 years of all the snaps that we took, including camps, ever having a snap that went over somebody's head or wasn't handled. That'd be thousands of snaps in practice and camps and games and everything else. And I do not remember a bad snap at any point in those 2 seasons. And I don't think there are many coaches anywhere, I don't care where you're at, that can say that about 2 guys on offense like that.
I don't think I remember a bad snap either. I covered you guys for a whole season. I don't think Aiden missed a single one.
Ever. I don't
just
think
a really solid.
Outstanding.
Just a couple, maybe just something that you remember out of the season that really just was special, something you don't get to see every year.
I talked about 4 of those seniors, but those other seniors, there's 8 other guys on there, and they're special kids. They all got to play their amount of time, and that's something that I'm going to miss. Those guys being in the locker room, when you're around a group of kids, 12 kids obviously that were around the football program for 4 years and made an impact on our program. It's always great to see them go because you know that they're moving on another step in their life. But it's disappointing because I'm used to when we would call for weights and during the summer or 7-on-7 or we're going to a camp or whatever. Those guys were always there for the last 4 years, and it's going to be hard for me to start another season without them. But obviously we're going to do it.
Absolutely. Could you pick a favorite play out of the year or not? There's so much offense, so much offense.
There was a lot of it. Holy cow! I go back to I guess I played quarterback, and I coached quarterbacks and things like that. But I go back to some of those long runs that Cody has because he weighed about 160 pounds, and if you don't have your running back and receivers blocking downfield and your linemen blocking and all that for a quarterback to be able to have those long runs, everybody on a team has to take care of their business. So, I think those are probably some of my favorite plays. When you can burst your quarterback through the line and you see those receivers blocking downfield and think, wow, we're on the 30-yard line. I think we got a chance to score a touchdown. I think those are fun plays for me. And I think part of that's because I did play quarterback, but it's a full, when a quarterback rushes for 1,000 yards, it's definitely a full team. A full team takes care of that. And Cody would be the first one to say that, he didn't gain those yards on his own by any means.
It takes 11 guys.
It takes 11 guys. And I think those are the plays that I like.
Absolutely. And were there any players that just kind of came out of nowhere? I know Cannon Heiss started catching a lot towards the end, and a couple other guys really just stepped up, as he said. Just a couple of the guys.
I think two guys. Cannon Heiss would be one of them. I probably have three then, and I probably have more than that. But we'll talk about three of them. Cannon Heiss would be one of them. He really stepped in the Halstead game, and I've talked to him here in the last 4 or 5 weeks about what he could mean to our football team the next year. Because he got so he could catch the ball in traffic. Cannon could always catch the ball real well, but what separates a good receiver from just an average receiver is somebody that can catch the ball in traffic and things like that. And then not only that, catch the ball in traffic, take a hit, and still gain momentum downfield. And
6'5" doesn't hurt either.
Absolutely, you're right. And he started doing that towards the end of the year, which will make him be a huge threat next year. Two other kids that I would like to talk about are Dan Sparacino and Toby Blue. They're two seniors that are no longer a part of the program, but those kids worked their tails off. Didn't really get a chance to play in varsity until they were seniors, except maybe when we got way ahead in the game or way behind in a game or something. And they became starters because all they did was work hard. I mean, they continued to work hard, and they weren't given anything, they weren't handed anything or anything else. They earned those spots. And they ended up being outstanding football players for us. And matter of fact, Toby Blue broke his hand and missed 2 or 3 games, and we really missed him on defense because of what he was doing. And Dan had a concussion early on in the year, recovered from that, and missed a couple games because of it, and came back and was our starting guard for the rest of the year. And he sewed that spot up and never looked back. And there were many games that we watched him and said, "Holy cow, Dan Sparacino was being an outstanding offensive lineman." So those would be 3 kids there that I would like to talk about.
Yeah, and really just amazing on that. Well, we appreciate you giving us some time and look forward to covering Southeast of Saline Trojan football in 2015. For now, I've been Tyler Henry of the Trojan Media Network with head coach Mitch Gebhardt signing off.
Thank you.